Hi, how are you? Today is Tuesday, the 13th of February, 2024. Today we're talking about Vanessa Lau. Let me start because she did a long video yesterday, and I happened to be on the internet and I happened to be on YouTube at the time. And 45 minutes after she actually posted the video, I was able to watch it. Now, Vanessa Lau and her career, she's really famous. Let me say, first off, set the foundation here for what I'm getting ready to say. This woman, this young lady, is absolutely awesome. She's just incredible for so many aspects. One thing about her that strikes me right away, and I think a lot of people right away when they see her, she's a beautiful young lady. She's really attractive. Number two, she's very good at speaking. She's very good at speaking spontaneously, and she's very good at speaking and saying interesting things and explaining things. She has great talent at explaining things really well. She has an excellent intelligence, and she's really talented at business, and she's done extremely well for herself. And another thing that is also really vital that talks about her character as a human being, she's open, she's sharing, she helps people to be successful. She doesn't manipulate people, and she hasn't exploited people and tricked people. But she's been a good businesswoman, so she's in the past she's made as much money, probably as much as she possibly could. She says herself that she just had these incredible goals about how much money she wanted to make. Now that's changed. A year ago, when she quit the internet, she said she's going to take a sabbatical. I made a video about her. I'm going to share that video in the comments of this video. I had some feedback right away, and I could see what was going on, and I could see that she was probably burned out. And I made some judgment calls. I'm the last person to judge her. I'll never be her level of professional. I'll never have the quality level of videos that she has. I'll never be the bright, charming, clever uh, powerhouse that this woman is. So I'm in no position to say, hey, she sucks. I would never say that. I never would want to put her down. However, she's the poster girl now, and she's made herself. She's an open person. She's an honest person. She's not hiding and lying and tricking people into thinking that she's somebody that she's not. And I'll get into the video in this video. I'll get into what she shared, and I'll make my comments about it. So she's made herself the poster girl for this. I mean, she's more than anybody else on the internet. She seems to be an open, honest person who's not being manipulative, not tricking people, and she's just saying who she is and what she's really gone through. And I really admire that because this is our road, this is our way, this is our strategy for becoming a better person. We don't try to be something that we're not. We admit who we are, we admit our failings, we admit our mistakes, and we move on. Vanessa, you're awesome. Let me start by saying that. You are absolutely awesome. And I'll get into a lot of things about why she thought she wasn't, about her values, about what was important to her character when she got involved. Totally a result, totally a product of today's culture, today's internet culture. Can't blame her. And she's rising above it because that's who she is. Okay, let's watch what she has to say.
Ultimately decided to dissolve my business. Now, that was over a year ago, and it's crazy to think about, not just because I did it, but because I did it pretty much at the height of my career. I had 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, 250,000 followers on Instagram, a multiple seven-figure online course business. I was finally speaking on stages. I was also popping off. Like, my channel was doing really well. It was getting a lot of views. But I ultimately decided that this life ain't for me, and I peaced out, and I shocked my corner of the internet.
Okay, so now she's talking about being at the height of her game. She was super successful, and she gives some numbers about that. Why was it? Why was it? Why did she quit? A lot of questions about that. We don't know why. Let's take a look.
There is a cap to this. And so what I did to scale up was I decided to package everything that I was teaching my clients and more into a course. And that course was called the Bossgram Academy. Now, it was really successful. When I first launched it, I made $200,000, and I posted this video of myself literally crying to strangers on the internet because this was the most money that I had ever made in my entire life. I'm so honored and happy to announce that my business has officially hit 6 figures today. And a year ago, I was in the cubicle asking myself how I could get to this point. I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd cry. Like a year ago, I was literally asking myself, how can I get that for my life? And today I just did it, and I'm so happy.
Wow. Look at the emotion that she's sharing there. It's just amazing. It's completely overwhelmed her, right? She's like totally losing her composure that she normally has. And she's showing all her emotion. What does this tell us? It tells us that her value, what she valued, what was most important to her, right, in her life, was making that huge amount of money. That was the goal. That was what she valued. So this is sincere, this is authentic emotion coming out about reaching her goal based upon her value. Now, if she didn't care, then she wouldn't be crying. She wouldn't be crying all these tears of joy, but she cared because that's what was most important to her at the time. We can change what we value, but that's not the same as core values. And I'll tell you about core values later on.
And it's not even the fact that people worked at the company, it's the fact that I felt that people heavily relied on the company. Maybe that's not true, but as a business owner, that's the pressure that I felt. I feel like at some point, with that pressure, it caused me to constantly worry about the future instead of being present. And as I'm actually reviewing the video right now, it's my first time in a long time, even rewatching that video, of me hitting 6 figures. And post filming this video, as I'm even like watching it over, I'm like, wow, I changed so much. I used to be grateful for every single milestone to the point where it would move me to tears. And somewhere along the lines, that gratitude started to dwindle because I was just no longer present. I was always worried about the future and feeling like I needed to do more and that everything I did wasn't enough. And so anyways, like you'll see more as you watch the video, but I wanted to let you guys know that even I'm having a certain epiphany about this.
Are you kidding me? Wow. Excellent, Vanessa. I'm just always so impressed by you. What did she do here? She just described what it's like to lose touch with your core values, not your dreams, not your hopes, not your wants, not your goals, your core values. She said she wasn't in the present. She's worried about the future. How's she going to take care of her employees? How's she going to keep up her reputation as a reliable person, as a person who pays their employees, as a person who takes care of them, gives them a future, things like that. So all these pressures, as things were snowballing, as her business was getting bigger and bigger, she lost sight of who she was. And she says that. That's no great insight on my part. She says that directly. What a great insight and what a great example of what it's like to be out of touch with yourself. Now, this is the problem with self-love. If we love ourselves, love is dynamic. Love is always changing. There's always a new way that things have to be done. So if you think about raising a child or raising yourself, you have to be dynamic. What was a deterrent yesterday was encouraged today. What is a question today is maybe more a statement today. What is more a reward yesterday is more of a caution today. So we're dynamic as we grow. We become flexible. You know, even like a plant, when a plant's growing, a plant needs to conserve water sometimes. Sometimes if it's a heavy, heavy rain, the plant is worried, hey, this is too much water. So the growth, life, love is all about being dynamic. And how do we be dynamic? We stay in touch with our core values, who we really are, what's really important to us. Not our dreams, not our new goals that we made up. I want to be blah, blah by this date. No, it's about what is most important to us in our heart. That doesn't change.
And so what I learned is that sometimes when you join these masterminds and when you go to these events, if you're not careful and if you don't have a strong mindset yourself, you can easily start seeing the things that you haven't done and that you haven't achieved. And that's what happened to me. When I started meeting more and more successful people, I started to feel like what I was building and what I had just simply wasn't enough. I wasn't good enough. And I needed to do more in order to be at their level, whether it was their level of revenue, their level of social media following, or their level of operations. While it was really cool to meet these super successful people, it also made me feel like absolute shit. And it made me feel like I needed to be at their level.
Now, here she's calling this trap number one. She talks about 3 traps, and the first one is called the comparison trap. What she gets into here, she talks about when she starts hanging out with these other people. She went to this mastermind group, she did this, she did that. And she's surrounded by people that are as successful, at least, or maybe more successful than she is. She started to feel empty inside. Why? Because you never hear her say, when she used that word successful, it's never about compassion. It's never about making the world a better place. It's never about finding inner contentment, inner fulfillment, improving herself, and becoming a more complete being. Every time she uses the word success, I can't speak for her, but it just seems pretty obvious. It's all about money. She talks about 3 things. What is it? Operations and income, just basic revenue and numbers of followers. Can we get any more? I don't want to say superficial. That's rude, isn't it? But I don't know what else to say. But she was caught up in this. She caught up in this thing, this cycle where I got to be as successful as these guys. And she was totally way off track. Again, we're talking about being out of touch with your core values. So she talks about trap number 1, and that's about comparison. And I think it's pretty clear to a lot of people that we should never compare ourselves to others. But we see it all the time, right? That's what the Olympics is all about. Who got the gold medal? You're the guy on the highest step, right? The tallest step. And then there's number 2 who's below you. And then number 3 who's below you. And number 4 is not even there. And they don't get anything. So we do live in an environment, we live in a world where so much of the time it's all about comparison. And at the same time, we know we shouldn't compare ourselves to others, but we do it anyway. And that's the first trap that she fell into.
All at the same time, I had no idea that I was gaining a bunch of weight. I was stress eating all the time. I spent more time caring about my clients and, my audience than I did my actual friends and family. I was normalizing my anxiety. I thought it was normal and a part of entrepreneurship to have heart palpitations in the middle of the night and to just have all this irritation, all this anger in me. And I was also increasing my expenses like crazy. What used to be a really fun and profitable and lean business all of a sudden turned into this monster that I had to keep running and keep going in order to keep the lights on. And so what I realize now is that I got caught up in this second trap, and that is the scale trap. Now, some of you guys might not know what the scale trap means, and I don't blame you because it's a term that I made up. It reminds me of lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep when you start making money, so you start spending more to maintain a certain image. Maybe you upgrade your car, you upgrade your house, or you upgrade your clothes, and then all of a sudden you have so many lifestyle expenses that you have to keep up. And so you have to keep working really hard in order to even maintain your life or the image that you're trying to portray. And so the scale trap, or maybe we could call it the scale creep, is the same thing but applied to business.
Nothing huge here, no huge new insight, but this is trap number 2. And she talks about, there's lifestyle creep, right? Where you're making more money. I know for myself, when I've made a lot of money in the past, I would spend that. It just automatically spent. It was burning a hole in my pocket, as they say. And the more money I had, the more money I spent. I had to have a new car. I had to have this, had to have that, and more trips. I remember when I was doing some software work in the Bay Area, San Francisco, I'd fly to Vegas. I had friends there. I wasn't a gambler, but I'd fly to Vegas quite often or drive my car there just to play. I didn't have to do that. And that wasn't about my core values. It was just, I had this money and it sounded cool, so I did it. Well, Vanessa's talking about here, the trap number two, this scaling trap, right? Scaling the business. So what does scaling mean? You probably know. Got more clients, you hire more people, you hire more salespeople, or you hire more service people, or you get a bigger facility. I had a friend of mine that rented a whole building floor, a whole floor of a building. He had a software program that he had written, and it was a small operation, but then it exploded. And then he rented a whole floor in a building in San Diego that shut down, and he had to leave the country. So he overscaled. And how do we do that? How do we fall into trap number two? Where our lifestyle becomes out of control. We got to have a new car, got to have this and that. Or our business, the scale of our business, it's growing too much. And we have to just deal with this snowball again, right? Because we're going off in the wrong direction. We're heading off in the wrong direction. And this thing is becoming this monster that's hard to control. So Vanessa is talking about how she was out of touch with herself and how she didn't think about, once again, I want to harp on this, core values. So she's out of touch with her core values, and it's what other people were doing. Why not? Because when we lose touch with our heart, we lose touch with who we are, then we'll follow the stupidest things. We'll follow things that have nothing to do with us because we've lost who we are. We've lost our North Star. We have no guidance.
And that was a lot for me. I bit off more than I could chew, realizing now that I had a YouTube channel that I wanted to grow. I had a team that I needed to manage. This was a new offer that I was running. We were still managing the Boss Gram Academy, and we have this mastermind going on. And so I really dug myself in this hole. And at the time, I felt like I couldn't retract, and I felt like I couldn't reduce the scope because I had already promised. And a lot of times we talk about under promising and over delivering. And I wanted to continue that notion of, even if I've overcommitted, I still need to make sure that if we have a speaker, it's one of the best speakers that we could ever find. If I have an event, it's gotta be, this epic thing with an after party with, all these bells and whistles.
Okay, trap number three. Basically, she calls it the sunk cost trap. What I interpret that as when she talks about it is just overcommitting. She just had too many things to do. And that was just part of being off track, being out of touch, forgetting who you are, being just out of touch with what you really want to do in life, what you really believe in, what really brings you a sense of not only joy on a day-to-day basis, but a sense of gratification. Am I doing the right thing with my life?
And then finally, with my team, I was just tired of being an asshole. And what I mean by that is that, yes, I could have kept my business running. I could have kept it operating as I figured things out. But through my experience, I learned that when I'm trying to figure things out and I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall, all it creates is collateral damage. I've documented my journey of hiring employees, then firing them, then descaling, then scaling again. And all of this is because I was always pivoting and trying to make these decisions really quickly and trying to figure things out. And yes, it was because I had the pressure of employees. Of course, I wanted to make sure I had the answers for everyone, but it is so hard to actually think things through thoughtfully and to do things thoughtfully when you have that type of pressure. And my experience tells me that when you are being reactive and you're doing all these things, like I said, it creates collateral damage. It creates this reality where you have to let people go because you accidentally overhired or you hired the wrong position because you're not clear on what the fuck you want. Ultimately, I finally found the courage within myself to shut things down because I no longer felt like I was in integrity.
Bingo, you got it, Vanessa. The word integrity is so vital in this situation. It's so cool that you got that you got the concept and you use that word. Because when we live a life of integrity, it's because we're in touch with our core values. And what about our core values? It's connected to our heart. And our heart is connected to love. And I know it sounds kind of mushy, but this is the most intense reality that drives this world. That is what this world is all about. The concept of love, compassion, consideration of others, respect, kindness, trueness, integrity. If we have integrity to what our core values are, we're not going to lose touch like she did. Once again, I don't even mean knocking her down. She's an absolutely fantastic, awesome individual. But she got caught up in what so many of us can always so easily get caught up in. So it's really cool that she hit on this idea that she was out of integrity with herself. Excellent insight. And that made all the difference for her. And that's why she's had to stop.
I said no to a lot of people. I was booked to speak at a lot of big events, and I had to email them and tell them, never mind, I'm pulling out. I realized that there is power in that. And that is why I just don't regret it. And in fact, in the past year, I've had a lot of time to reflect, as you can tell from this video, but I also had a lot of time to spend with my loved ones. And through that process of just living life without the pressure of social media, I was able to learn a really valuable lesson, and that is I am enough. I am dope. I am cool. I've done cool shit. I am awesome. And it took me a year of being off of social media to realize that. And this is who I've been all along.
Vanessa, awesomeness again. There's a couple of points here that she made all kind of crunched together in a short period of time. So I'm going to try to decompress that a little bit. First thing is saying no. She realized that had to say no to a lot of things. This is the power of no. There's been books written about that, the power of yes, but also the power of no. And there have been seminars in the world, in the progressive world of people learning about themselves and learning how to actualize, about the concept of saying no. What does it mean when we say no? It means that we take a look at our core values. We take a look at the things that are really important to us. We take a look at our heart. Does this feel good? Is this who I am? And if it's not, you got to say no. It could be an offer for millions of dollars to do this or that. It could be super popular. You could get a chance to go on a Learjet with somebody famous, or what could be whatever kind of thing kind of turns you on. That is really, really exciting in the world according to how we were raised. But does it match in my heart? Second point, she said, she used the word power, which is fantastic, because what she's referring to is she felt the power in this, in saying no. And she realized that this is the power of, what is it? Power of Huey Lewis. What did he say? Power of love. Okay, so he's talking about a romantic relationship in that song. However, the power of love is powerful across all kinds of situations in life. When we feel the power of love, suddenly we're back in touch with who we are. And this feels powerful. This feels great. It feels really good. It feels natural. It feels healthy. It feels right. So that's love, the power of love that she felt. She gets into being able to spend time with her family. And, you know, she had that year to just be in touch with the people that she really cared about, that she really loved. And although she has to say, I love you, my followers that have supported me and all my customers and all that stuff. And I'm sure she means it, you know. We love people that will support us, that like our stuff, want to buy our stuff, want to support our offerings, makes us feel good. Yeah, we're contributing. So that's really great. Whole different ball game when we talk about the people that are close to us, our significant others, our parents, other people, close friends that are important to us. And here's a really funny thing. She got a lot of time back, but of course. Now, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, right? That didn't change at all. So why did she have more time? It's not like suddenly the clock changed. No, instead of wasting time on things that didn't give her gratification, that she didn't feel proud of, that were not her place in the world, instead of that, wasting herself, wasting her time, she got time back because she felt like, wow, I'm really getting a chance to do something important to me and enjoy my life and love the people that I love and spend time maybe with her. I guess she's got a couple of cats. You know, that can be a very gratifying, really good feeling to play with your pets, you know. Okay. And then final point that was compressed that I want to decompress was she said she's not enough. She said she's awesome. She was always awesome. She's always fantastic, always just absolutely amazing individual, always. What made her lose touch with that? What made her try to prove that? You know, if we lose touch with just how great we are, and all of us are great inside, we got to find that part of us. And if we lose touch with how great we are, it's because we're off track. It's because we're going down the wrong road. It's because we're pursuing the wrong thing that doesn't have anything to do with our heart. And we don't have to be super awesome. And we don't have to feel like we're an inadequate person. We don't have to feel this, imposter syndrome. We don't have to feel that imposter syndrome. There's kind of a steady, even thing. I am who I am. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best, but I'm proud of who I am. And I'm proud of who I am in this world, my place in this world, as Tom Cruise says in Jerry Maguire. Am I happy with my place in the world? Well, what's your place in the world? This is such an important lesson. And this is what she came across when she said, wait a second, I'm awesome. Yeah, it's great to feel that I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. And that's what she stumbled upon. Really, really great stuff, Vanessa.
And so now coming back to social media, I feel like I've developed a lot of cool skill sets that I didn't have before. I feel like I got to learn more about who I am and what my values are. Like I said earlier in the video, keep in mind when I started my business, I was in my early 20s, and being in my early 20s, I had a whole set of different values. I valued money, I valued grinding, I valued doing everything I could to get everything that I wanted, because when I was in my early 20s, I didn't have anything. I wasn't rich. I was like middle class, but I wasn't rich. And there was a lot of things that rich people had that I wanted. And so I was willing to do anything to get those things, only to realize that when you get those things, it doesn't really matter. What matters is your health, what matters are your relationships, what matters is your happiness.
So what Vanessa says here is, when she was young, things were different. Her values were different. Yes, superficially. And we could equate this idea, this concept about values as with goals, contrived concepts. I want that car. I want to travel to that country. I want to have this experience in my life. I want to have this relationship in my life. These are all not core values. These are all goals and dreams and desires and wants. So when she was younger, she says, oh, I was just middle class, and all these people had the things that I wanted. Well, that's, values based upon the environment that she was in. And the people around her, most likely, I'm just guessing, people around her had these same kind of dreams and goals and wants and plans, you know, car, house, travel, ideal relationship, and these things. These are not core values because these things can change. I don't want this car, I want that car. I don't want this house. And she talked about, oh, I don't have to live in another place. This is a good insight. She didn't have to go live in another country. Her home was nice. I think maybe that's a pretty close to a core value. I'm content where I am geographically. So this is an important thing to look at. The difference between things that we do value and what our actual core values are.
I want you to know that there are so many different paths to success, but there is only one path that is uniquely for you. And I hope that you have the courage to do that path that feels good to you, that makes sense for the life that you want, for the values that you have. And if you are someone who is unclear on those values, who is unclear on what you actually want, I hope that this video gives you courage to actually just pause. You don't have to quit, but you can pause, to slow down and to reflect and to get to know who you are, because your values are going to change over time. Like I said, my values in my early 20s is so different from the values that I have now. And it's important that when you are creating your career or creating your life or creating whatever you want to create, that you have that stop point to actually ask yourself if that business model, if that career, if that relationship, if that whatever it is that you're doing matches the values that you have today.
Okay, we're getting ready to wrap this up, but we just hit a gold mine. Why is it a gold mine? It's because we are getting some real insight about what Vanessa is all about and what has really made her, like she said, it's been awesome. She's out of touch. She was out of touch with how awesome of a person that she actually is. It was a kind of the template, maybe we could say, who she is, your her uniqueness. It's about that. Now, what is she saying right now? She's telling people, look, you've got to get in touch with what your values are. If it doesn't feel right, take a break. You don't have to stop, you can just take a break. Where is this coming from? It's coming from her heart. It's coming from her love for other people, which it's really profound, you guys. That's why this lady is so incredible, so unique. She's got a super IQ. She's got super talent when it comes to magnetism and how she comes off. She's an extremely appealing person, but that's all frosting on the cake. The core of who she is, one of her real core values is helping people, loving people. And with her new enterprise, she didn't say what it was. It'll be coming out probably pretty soon because she works fast. She's productive. If it's not about helping people, it's not going to work, but it will. It will be because I think she's in touch with this. So it's a really, really key thing here to see how absolutely beautiful this human being is. She really wants to help other people have a better life, a happier life, a quality life, and to know their place in the world. Now, she talks about the word values, and I don't so much agree with how she comes across with that because values can change. And she said her values change, but her core value is loving other people, nurturing other people, helping them. And this, my friend, this is huge. And okay, we're almost going to wrap up here. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks for being you. Thanks for being in touch with being you.
Instead, I have core principles that my life revolves around, but also I have a feeling my content is going to revolve around. So, for example, the 4 core pillars that I have is to feel good. I really prioritize my wellness and my health now, and also my sense of being. And so I can see me sharing how I'm doing that in hopes that maybe you can find balance in your life. I want to have fun. I want to share more aspects of my life, more aspects to myself, so it doesn't always feel like I'm trapped in a niche, and instead I'm able to share my interests freely to my audience. And again, I would love to share my process of how I'm doing that with you guys. I want to do less. My path to success was so complicated. It used to be simple, but then it got complicated over time. And so I really want to share an easier way to doing content creation, to starting an online business, to being a creator. And so I'm really excited to share my lessons on that as I document my journey of simplifying. And I also want to earn not just more, but earn enough. Throughout my time off, I was able to understand what enoughness looked like for me. And I no longer have crazy, crazy huge revenue goals because I know what enough looks like.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. She talks about some of her core principles, some of the things that she really wants to pay attention to, and that are maybe the framework for her life and the framework for her future objectives, her future, we could say, adventures. So one of the key things that I got out of that really, it has to do with helping other people. And she really wants to help other people. She wants to share her journey. She wants to make it easier for people that are content creators like she is to get to that goal. And then she gets into a little bit more than I would think about the money. But she does try to make it clear how much is enough. So we got to get in touch with how much money is enough for your lifestyle. And I think this is something that maybe she's going to expand. I'd love to see her expand on this more in the future. What is enough? What does that mean? As I mentioned, this friend of mine that got this business, this software business, and he rented this whole floor in a building in San Diego. I asked him, and I saw him getting out of this was 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I saw him kind of losing touch with any value, core value, and instead adopting the value of, call it greed, because it's wants and desires that were unlimited. I said, how much money do you want to make? And he's, he thought it was a stupid question. Like I thought, how much is enough when it comes to that? And this is something that Vanessa's really hit on here. That's really core. How much money does she really need? And how is that going to be balanced in her life? So please forgive me. I'm going to look at a few notes here just to wrap things up. One of the things that I'm going to be getting into in other videos in the next couple of days, I really need to do this, and that has to do with IQ compared to CQ. IQ, intelligence quotient. CQ is compassion quotient. So IQ is a wonderful thing. It's really great. But what's much, 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 much more important and much more relevant in this world is compassion, the compassion we have for each other. Now, compassion sucks in the world right now. What's happening in the world overall, compassion really sucks. I mean, let's not even look at the massacre that's happening in the Middle East. Let's just look at 14,000 children die every day from our neglect. And I wish Vanessa had mentioned this more, but she really is wanting to help people. But I'd love to see her set an example for reminding people, look, there are people that are starving, that are dying every day. The people that are drinking dirty water and getting worms in their system and dying from diarrhea, kids from the age 0 to 5. There are so many people in the world that are really, really hurting. And the greatest majority of us, and a huge percentage of the people that are these entrepreneurs, these creators, these influencers, they never talk about it. They never talk about it. Well, I'm here to tell you, of everything you think about, of everything you do, think about these people that really need your help. Is it $25 a month? Is it $100 a month? Can you go there? Can you mention? Can you do a fundraiser? Can you do this or that? That's my core value. My core value is if I was sitting on the dirt floor of a hut in some place and forgotten about, suffering and dying, I think about the woman holding the baby in her arms as that child dies because she doesn't have 10 cents a day. She doesn't have the ability to find the job to make that money so that she can spend that money on some simple medicines, some simple food, some clean water. She doesn't even have that. 14,000 children die every day. So this is what I think is something that everyone has compassion. That's a core value that all of us have. And what Vanessa, how she expresses her compassion is by helping other people in the business. However, making a bunch of millionaires or making a bunch of happy people by itself does not feed these 14,000 children that are dying every day from our neglect. So we also need to have some balance of, okay, I'm going to help out my community. Not only am I going to build my own little empire, whatever that is, where it's just enough to where I can be happy and I can do this or that for myself and my own world, but what about the other people that are hurting, people that can't pay us back, people that are not as lucky as we are, people that don't have parents that love them, their parents are dead or murdered or gone somewhere, or their parents are depressed, or their parents are having trouble with substance abuse and things like that. They don't have anybody around them who can nurture them. They don't have a network. They don't have the environment that's necessary to be able to go to school and to be able to get a good job. Even as a barista, that would be a wild dream for them. But that was like one of Vanessa's lowest, where she was just saying, look, I did that until I got things together. That wasn't me. Well, some people, would dream of having clean water coming out of the tap, plumbing, hygiene, safety. Okay, so got a difference between IQ and CQ, and that's what I want to mention here. Would I like to be Vanessa? This is just a side point. No, not in a million years. I admire the heck out of her, but that's not my journey, right? That's not my life, what I would want to be. But I think she's absolutely cool. She was driven by wanting to be popular, wanting to be loved. And that's part of who we are. We balance that though, right? Maybe we don't become a glutton or we don't become an alcoholic if we can control ourselves. And we don't get out of control regarding, oh, I want to be admired, I want to be loved. This is a natural part of being a human being. It's a natural survival instinct. Do people value me? Do people like me? Then I'm safe in my community. Then I'm contributing. Then I belong. I can feel good about who I am. I can feel good about what I'm doing. But when that gets out of control, we're counting how many likes we get to our videos. And then that gives us a sense of self-esteem. Oh, I'm important because I got so many likes. So she is admired, and she's become a success and an authority. And she lost touch with that. We know why. Okay, now, one more point here. She gave us, I think I'm done here. She gave us a huge gift. So I just want to end with a note of gratitude for Vanessa. Like I say, she's awesome. What does that mean? What's behind that? What's behind that is really the fact that she's sharing her life with us in a way that we can benefit. Core value, that's who she is. That's what she's about. She's about helping other people understanding things. And she makes a comment towards the end of her video about how she wants to be able to share and delineate her journey, how she got to where she is, help people save time, help people save energy, and help people have a more direct route, not only to the business success that they might be looking for, that business success, but also to fulfillment, about finding who they are. She emphasizes that. Why? Because she just got through that. She just learned who she is. She learned a lot more. And you know what? It's a lifetime process, because the world is changing and we're changing. So to find out who we are, well, we got to look pretty deep and we got to think about it. It's a journey that all of us are on, hopefully. And those of us that really want to actualize as human beings, those of us that look at, who am I in this world? What part do I play? What is my role in this world? This is a really important thing to look at, because we want to look at not only our own lives and our own happiness, but our responsibility to each other. Something that's not talked about much at all, that really I've looked at a lot and I have a lot of ideas about. So please subscribe to this channel. That's helpful in itself. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you so much for being who you are. I appreciate it. And that's it for now. Thank you.